Hello and good afternoon, beautiful people. Today I'm going to go through the Ninja Gaiden interview that IGN had with Mr. Nakao during day one of the Xbox conference during Gamescom. And then I'm going to move on to the gameplay and the interview that they did on day two. Most of you have probably seen this one, and some of you may have seen this one. Um, the first interview doesn't have too much worthwhile information in it, but it's still for people that are not in the loop and that have missed some stuff. There is some interesting facts in here, and based on body language of the director, you can probably take on a few hints, maybe. So maybe I'm reading too much into it, but we'll go through it. And there is some stuff I forgot to mention in this gameplay video. We'll go through it. Approximately, this video is going to be an hour long. A good listen, and I'll most likely point it out if there's any portion you need to watch. But that being said, let's get straight into it with the first interview.
This is Gamescom Studio on IGN. If you're a fan of games about stealthy, sword-wielding assassins, 2025 has already been jam-packed, but one of the deadliest around is still waiting to strike. Here to tell us about Ninja Gaiden 4, producer, director Yuji Nakao, and global project manager Joe Muntel, who'll be translating. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Ninja Gaiden 4, this time around, we're following a new character named Yakumo. What can you tell us about Yakumo?
本作は新しい主人公ヤクモについて教えていただけますか？
そうですね。はい。今回の新しい主人公であ
So
る
in this portion, they're going to explain that what the baseline of the story is that Yakumo is trying to kill the Dark Dragon.
まあ、
That's is sealed off, and his body is like doing rain rot on the city, and it just looks sad and gloomy, and it still poses a danger to the world. And Ryu's team and himself, his clan, is there to protect the seals from being broken. Even Yakumo's clan, the Raven clan, is supposed to help with that, but he alone has decided to step up and do something else about it. And Sayori is the one that helps him in that
So
path.
the protagonist Yakumo is a member of the Raven clan, which is a separate clan from Ryu Hayabusa's Hayabusa clan. And the Raven clan operates in the shadows of the Hayabusa clan, and Yakumo is on a mission to kill the Dark Dragon, which is the nemesis of Ninja Gaiden 4. And on the way to completing his mission, he will have to clash with Ryu Hayabusa, who has different motivations and objectives. And along the way, he'll also face off against the Divine Dragon Order, which you see him fighting many soldiers of the Divine Dragon Order in the footage that has been revealed up until this point.
I want to ask about Ryu in just a moment, but I think we're looking at the story trailer that you just debuted here at Gamescom. So, tell us about what you wanted to do when you were telling this new story for Ninja Gaiden 4.
そうですね。昨日オープニングナイトライブで
So,
トレーラーが
as I explained, it's setting up the premise of what the story is going to be, but we don't know how it's going to go about. Like, they give you the key points, like, okay, Yakumo is the nemesis. Really important key word. They say nemesis, not protagonist. It's like he's the nemesis that wants to go and do all this stuff, and Ryu is trying to stop him because probably Ryu knows better since he's been doing this since he was much younger and way less knowledgeable at the time. So he probably knows better by now. And honestly, I think all of us know that if Ryu couldn't kill something, nobody else probably can. So unless Yakumo has something very special about him in his bloodline, or maybe his techniques, or maybe his clan, then the possibility of anybody being able to take out the Dark Dragon is extremely low. And you do obviously have all these side characters that are not mentioned. We don't know what those side characters are going to bring to the story and how they're going to twist it. One of them being this guy. So we do have the premise, but we don't know the full story yet.
So Ninja Gaiden 4's story is, it's set against the backdrop of this Dark Dragon nemesis. So the Dark Dragon has appeared in prior Ninja Gaiden titles, and in Ninja Gaiden 4, the Dark Dragon has been defeated a number of times. But in Ninja Gaiden 4, its husk is floating in the sky, and it is not completely annihilated yet. So it's actually been sealed
Yet.
away. And in order to completely cleanse the world of the Dark Dragon, Yakumo sets out to release the seals that are sealing away the Dark Dragon. And to that end, he teams up with another character who's been revealed, the heroine, Sayori. And that is what leads to the clash with Ryu Hayabusa and the Divine Dragon Order, which their objective is to keep the Dark Dragon sealed away because they're aware of the risks that will present themselves if they decide to release the seals that are sealing away this nemesis, the Dark Dragon.
So how did you decide to go with the new protagonist and make Ryu more of a supporting character this time around?
This part is a very important part of the question too, but we'll get to that after they talk about it. The one important thing with Yakumo is that he is very much set up to be the cocky young boy that doesn't know what he's doing, and he's very harsh and hasty in his decision making, which you'll see in chapter one. I'm not going to spoil why for people that have not watched the chapter one playthrough, but yeah, there he gets his whole objective gets twisted around because of something that happens in the story. That's why he decides to do what he does. But throughout the early missions, what you do is go towards these checkpoints and break the seals. And at the checkpoints, there's bosses and strong enemy waves. But sometimes you get pulled into this other realm, which is the demon realm. Not to be mistaken with the fiends. Demons are completely something new to Ninja Gaiden 4, apparently. But with that being said, Ryu is still the one that's gonna be um, your main stopping point when it comes to the obstacles is the word I was looking for. So you're gonna go through all this. Yakumo is probably gonna annihilate most of the enemies coming in his way. But when it comes to Ryu, as we've seen in the first couple of trailers, Ryu is that blockade of testing Yakumo's willingness and capabilities. He obviously wants to stop him, but at the same time, he's giving Yakumo a chance to prove himself. That, hey, can you really do this? Because I fucking couldn't. So if I couldn't do it, you gotta really prove it to me. And he says it, prove it, that you can pull this off. So, anyways, getting back to this.
Such a long time since the last mainline entry in Ninja Gaiden. We wanted to make a fresh entry point for new players as well, and that's why we decided to introduce a new protagonist in the form of Yakumo, who players can grow together with in this new game. But with that said, of course, Ryu Hayabusa is the Ninja Gaiden icon. So players can rest assured that Ryu Hayabusa will have a strong presence in the story, and there are dedicated segments in the story for Ryu Hayabusa as well. So, fans of Ryu Hayabusa will definitely have a great time with they're playing through the story of Ninja Gaiden 4.
Well, fans of Ryu Hayabusa, like IGN users Full Metal 6661 and Darkwing Spartan, would love to know, is Ryu's only weapon the Dragon Sword?
Well, this one's important, so I'm gonna ramble on about Ryu's characteristic right now. Team Ninja has gone on record at least 3 times in articles and many other times in interviews saying that Platinum Games does not have creative freedom over what happens with Ryu. We have to give the okay of how Ryu is designed, portrayed, and played in the video game. Literally played in the sense of mechanical gameplay, right? Not only his character, not only his story, but down to his gameplay has to be okayed, mark of approval by Team Ninja. Why have they decided to do this? Despite Platinum being very renowned and arguably better at Team Ninja when it comes to creating modern combat, the thing with it is that some characters, if you if you try to modernize old characters that already have this established backgrounds and important footholds in the industry, your Dantes, your Bayonettas, your Ryu Hayabusas, your Shepherd, all those characters, right? You risk losing your core audience. You might generate new ones, but when the core audience leaves, an essence of the authenticity of that franchise dies with it. Best example I can bring up with this, unfortunately, is God of War 2018. Despite that game being a huge success, sales-wise, because gaming has grown compared to 2010, in 2018, of course, it would sell more than something 8 years before it, because the community has gotten bigger. However, a lot of the core fan base that grew up with God of War 1, 2, 3, and Chains of Olympus, Ghost of Sparta, all those classic games, even Ascension, they dislike the path Santa Monica took with Kratos, making him soft and a little warm-hearted. He actually cares about stuff. He thinks about stuff, right? He's not driven by pure instinct and quick decision making. He's grown and thinks about actions and consequences, which is something that everybody does when they, well, not everybody, but a lot of people do when they age, right? So the route they took with Kratos was logical by all means, but it was disliked because people wanted the old Kratos to stay him, right? So Santa Monica, to play it safe, yet somehow extremely risky, they changed Kratos' characteristic. Despite it being logical, they changed it. So the core fan base left for the most part, right? They don't like it. They played the game. They're like, not for me, and they dip out. I love Kratos. The game is not for me, but I will always support that character because I will want to see more done with him, right? With Team Ninja, Team Ninja is not taking that risk. Team Ninja is not going to take a massive step with Ryu's characteristics because he's already loved, he's already extremely established, he's extremely renowned, he's extremely iconic when it comes to just the gaming industry. When you think of a video game ninja, you think Ryu Hayabusa. It's not Ghost Runner, it's not Naruto, it is Ryu Hayabusa. You think Ninja Gaiden, you think Ryu Hayabusa. He is the ninja, right? So the Team Ninja did not want to risk ruining that. That's why they sprinkled Ryu in small portions in their new IPs, because it's just way too risky to try and write him in a depth heavy way that might ruin continuity, canon, and just his character as a whole. So they're not shining the spotlight on Ryu because they don't like him or they want a new port. It's not that. Ryu is going to be there for the core fan base, the old heads, the classic, the OGs, whatever you want to call yourself, right? He's there for us, and Team Ninja has gone a step above to make sure he feels like Ryu. So if you've paid attention to how he plays, from the very little we've seen, he kept his best iteration of combat, which was Ninja Gaiden 3. He's keeping his toolkit later down the line when it comes to weapons and just the feel of what he's able to do with essence absorption and all the things from Ninja Gaiden 2. And the story is kind of like Ninja Gaiden 2, so it's the best part of out of the saga. Ninja Gaiden 2's story was the best. If we generalizing, right? One is amazing too. I'm not saying it's not, but if it's like 100% compared to a 99%, two being the 100% and one being the 99%. It's kind of like that. 3 story sucks ass. And then they're keeping the level design, the environment design, as much as they can to Ninja Gaiden 1's level, which was the best aspect of that game compared to the other two. It was interconnected, it was vast, it was explorable, and they're keeping that as much as they can in NG4. You have a lot of pathways you can branch off to find secrets. There is also accessories, a little bit of a spoiler, but they've already announced it officially, so I can actually say that yes, they have said that there is accessories like Ninja Gaiden 1 in NG4. So again, they have parted the best aspect of every game. They combined it into one, and that's how Ryu is playing for the most part. So NG1 players are going to feel nostalgic having pathways they can follow and branch off to and like accessories to select, because that's Ninja Gaiden 1's the thing, right? That's the most important thing from that game. Ninja Gaiden 2 is the story and the characters. 3 didn't have much of that. You had like 2 characters you would care about, and one of them dies. Spoiler. And then 3's combat is like the only redeeming quality it has. I love Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, but like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. The story for that, it is not good, despite them trying to focus on Ryu as much. He talks more, he's more involved, he shows more emotion, he shows actual growth. Nobody liked that shit because it was not done correctly, right? So this time they're not taking that risk with him. This time they're just making him the mentor. They're making him the guide person. Like Dante was in DMC4. He wasn't the main character, but he guided Nero in the right way. And when Nero messed up, he helped him out of a mess, which is most likely what's going to happen here. Yakumo's gonna fuck up, and then you're gonna switch to Ryu, and you're gonna clean up Yakumo's mess, and then you're probably gonna fight as both of them at the last mission or something. But maybe the final mission is like a co-op tease for the DLC that's coming. We'll get to that later. Don't worry. So that being said, with Ryu, summarize it because we've been here for a while. He is being kept extremely sacred in the sense of they don't want to ruin him. He's still there for us that we care, right? But they don't want to ruin it for us by putting a magnifying glass over him and just burning him accidentally, right? They want to keep him safe. Now, Yakumo is what Kratos was supposed to not do, but did, right? Yakumo is for the newcomers. Yakumo is for the people that don't know what Ninja Gaiden is. That's why he has a more modern look and way more generic ninja anime thing. That, he's edgy. He has, anime hair with it's like white and black. So he's extra. He's like a Kaneki type of wife. Like, I get it. I get all the comparison. There's a reason why he's like that. It's because the new generation of kids, the 15-year-olds, the 12-year-olds, the ones that are not supposed to play the game because they're not old enough, which they will play the game because they don't care, because Yakumo looks cool to them. Yakumo looks absolutely cool to a younger audience, right? He's not for us. I don't fuck with him, but I do like him. I do like him, and every time I see more of his combat and toolkit, I'm like, you know what? This might be fun, right? I don't dislike him at all, but the thing is, I prefer Ryu. I'm an old head, and Ryu just looks way better to even just watch, let alone play, which I don't know how it feels like it. So that's the thing. If you're getting mad at Yakumo, it's because you're not the target audience. You're not supposed to like him. Somebody else is supposed to. What you're supposed to like is already there, which is Ryu, and you know everything about Ryu. And of course, naturally, you want more of Ryu, but that bridge is too risky to cross. So Platinum is just or Team Ninja is making sure that that playground is there for you to play in. Just we're not going to expand this just yet until we know it's safe. The franchise has been dead in the water for 13 years. It's best not to take massive risk with it, because if this game doesn't do good, if there's bad repercussions in what happens after the launch, if it doesn't sell well, because it is a tremendous, monumental project, if this dies, Ninja Gaiden is effectively dead. The best thing you might get is 2D games like Ragebound. So, just saying, keep an open mind when thinking about Yakumo and Ryu's involvement in the story. Anyways, moving on. I can skip this bit. Although I can always talk about the gameplay while they're talking. But they even... Oh, there we go.
Ryu's weapon in the base game will be the Dragon Sword. But in addition to the Dragon Sword, he'll also be able to seamlessly use his Ninpo, so you can switch between Ninpo on the fly while in combat. And with regards to Yakumo's weapon variety, he uses his Blood Raven form to transform his base weapons. So each weapon itself is a pair. So there's in total 8 weapon varieties, if you will. So you'll be able to experience a wide breadth of weapon variety in the game with both characters.
So I don't think, in all the combat we've seen, I don't think we've seen any ranged combat except for shurikens. Will there be new ranged weapons for either Yakumo or Ryu?
So when it comes to the weapons, Yakumo does not have 8 weapons. Yakumo technically has fucking 14 weapons. He legitimately has 14 weapons technically. So he has 4 selectable weapons, correct? The dual blades turn into the long sword. The rapier turns into the drill. I've said this millions of times. The spear turns into the hammer, right? So you have 6 weapons right there technically, right? Technically 6 weapons already in 3 selections. But how the last one, the Ninja Assassin tools, or the Assassin's tools, it's what the official name is of that. That weapon is 8 weapons in 1, right? So to break down a little bit of gameplay as well, in your Blood Raven form, you get 4 actions when you hold the left trigger down. Your face buttons completely shift what you do. So when left trigger is held down, you enter your Blood Raven, which is this bar right here. If you press X, which is your jump, or A on Xbox, I'm going to use PlayStation terms, I'm sorry. Um, X and Blood form does the vault animations. So your pole stance, your lunge attack, your many other moves, signature moves. Each weapon has a different bloodbind and jump action. And there's also a bloodbind, which is left trigger again, and circle, which is your range option. That's why we don't have range weapons in the game. Spoilers for the next question. Is because the tools already provide range options, right? You do use your bloodbind bar to make these decisions and spend it to do range attacks, but it is there in a different way, which I appreciate because I personally having two buttons for a range weapon is a big waste of the controller's limited inputs already. So, and if you hold bloodbind and you press square and triangle, you do light bloodbind and heavy bloodbind attacks. So all four face buttons do a different action when you hold down the left trigger to go into your bloodbind / gleaming. I actually do not know what Ryu can do with gleam and range attack. I'm really curious. That might be his Nimpo. The reason why I say that is because maybe they are changing the double input. Because for Nimpo, you used to press triangle circle. They might change it now to you have to press L2 and circle to do Nimpos. That might be the new input for it, and double inputs might be do something else. Who knows? And so going through back to the Yakumo's weapon, the last weapon, Assassin's Tool, has, and keep up with me here, it has the staff, that's one. It has the tonfas, that's two. It has the smoke bombs, which is your range attack, that's three. It has the claws, that's four. It has the flail, that's five. And it has a split staff. Oh, sorry, I think I already named the staff. The shurikens. So you have, and if you hold the bloodbind attack, all this shifts. So again, split staff, flail, tonfa, claw, shuriken, and smoke bomb. And I think that's everything. And you do have the gauntlet itself to it. It does do something on its own uniquely. So yeah, that weapon alone is like 8 weapons in one. It is like, oof, it's insane how much you have in it. And again, they do different stuff when you go into Bloodbind. So Yakumo is stacked, and this kind of brings up the hope that if when Ryu gets his weapons, how cracked is he gonna be? If Yakumo is this insane, just how insane Ryu is gonna be. That might be his bloodbind. Did he lose bloodbind when he dodged? No, he didn't. So that's not his bloodbind attack. A little speculation on this, by the way. The bar seems to not move. However, I've noticed in the newer footage, Yakumo uses way less bar for doing bloodbind attacks. So this might be upgradable to reduce the amount of usage you get out of it, the drainage. So you're able to do more gleaming and bloodbind attacks. Everybody was dying to this boss at the Gamescom. So, people said the game is easy.
Weapons, like you alluded to in your question, the main long-range weapon will be the shurikens, but using Yakumo's Bloodraven form, for example, each weapon has its own projectile techniques that you can use to attack enemies who are away from you. So each Bloodraven form has a long-range technique that you can use. But also, I invite players to look at the trailer that was revealed yesterday, where we revealed the Assassin's Tools weapon. So that weapon is kind of a jack of all trades, and you could really, be tricky because it has a lot of long-range options as well as close-range options.
Can you talk about how weapon upgrades work?
Very important here. So I've talked about this, but there is 2 currencies in the game. There is the ninja coins and there is the karma points. So the karma points is what you use to buy techniques for your weapon. Actual weapon-specific techniques and extra strings. Then the coins are what you use to buy signature moves, like your Izuno drops, like your Flying Swallow, Guillotine Throw, Ultimate Technique Charge, and stuff like that. And I think, you obviously buy items with your ninja coins as well. So for people that miss healing items, they are still there. And I think each weapon has its own upgrade path. So you don't level up the weapon anymore. You just straight up buy techniques for it.
それぞれ体術の方は、忍者ガイデンならではのアクションっていうのを取り揃えてて、武器の方に関しては、ある種プラチナゲームズならではのダイナミック
Oh, they're showing trailer 1 again.
数々っていうのを楽しめるように住み分けているような形になってます。
Yeah, so the way progression works in Ninja Gaiden 4, there are combat skills and then there's weapon skills. So combat skills you'll be able to acquire from this character called Tyron, who you'll meet in each level, and you can use Ninja Coin, which is the in-game currency that you obtain just through general progression, defeating enemies. And within those combat skills, you'll find those legacy, Ninja Gaiden techniques. It's where you can find your Izuna drop and your flying swallow that you'll, of course, be able to acquire at a very early point in the game because it doesn't cost.
Yeah, they're pretty cheap.
And then separate from that, there are the weapon abilities that you can, open up the menu, select your weapon, and you'll see this huge, variety of weapon techniques that you can acquire using a separate currency. It's weapon experience, and that's where you'll find those, very dynamic Platinum Games-esque, over-the-top, stylish abilities.
One more quick question before we let you go. A lot of fans are excited to play
There we
Ninja
go.
Gaiden 4. Are there any plans to release a demo as we get closer to launch?
最後になります。
Now, key thing here. I already explained the weapon thing, so I'm not gonna break into it too much. Key important thing here. Look at the hesitation on Nakao when he's answering this question. There is obviously something there that he doesn't want to get into it too deep because it's probably not ready in the sense of like they're not ready to announce it. So he's don't accidentally give us hope just in case they don't want to go through with it later because it can happen. But again, as I've said millions of times, there is a demo build. People have already played the goddamn demo build. They are currently playing the demo build in the background and not having success with it because they all keep dying. But we'll get to that in literally 5 minutes. The way Nakao answers this is extremely vague. And it's the same answer that I was expecting when I was watching this the first time. I was like, please do not say the word Gamescom because which he does. He says Gamescom, and I'm like, oh, okay, so you're just going to tell people there's a demo here, go play it. Which is what Capcom said with Monster Hunter, which is what a lot of companies have to say because they have to make sure, tickets sell on Gamescom. It's like, hey, come here, pay the ticket, get in here, play the game for free. The demo is here. It's like they have to sell it, right? But usually, and I do mean usually, Team Ninja always has demos for all their games. Even Rise had a demo. Rise of Ronin had a demo. It came after the game release, but I don't think they'll do that with Ninja Gaiden. And there is a demo build. The fact that there's a demo build for this game that people are playing is extremely likely that we'll get one. And there is one more major event left before the game comes out, which is Tokyo Game Show. And I'm quite certain they're going to talk more Ryu there. Tokyo Game Show usually doesn't reveal new things. They just go over the things they've went over in Gamescom. If the game is buggy, they just refine it by then. So I'm not gonna hype you guys up for TGS, which is Tokyo Game Show. It happens next month on the 25th, I'm pretty sure. So if we don't get a demo announcement there, it most likely is gonna happen during October then. Because I highly doubt they'll not give us a demo, especially since there's a build for it. It is very costly to do a demo, so I don't blame him for not wanting to do one. The game has already taken 7 years to develop, so. Anyways, let's get into this part so you can hear from the horse's mouth.
ますけども、発売に近づいてて、一般向けのデモ私有を
Plus, if they give people a demo,
そうですね。
look, the hesitation.
今回ゲームズコムで初めて一般の私有になっていて、雑魚敵との戦闘っていう忍者ガイデンらしいプリミティブな体験から、今回から新しくさらに進化したボス戦まで楽しめるような形になってます。で、この後もですね、ちょっとまだ計画中ではあるんですけど、いろいろな方に体験していただきたいので、そういった機会は積極的に考えていきたいなっていうふうに思っていますので、ぜひそちらもお楽しみにお待ちください。で、あと。
They definitely want people to play the game, though.
今ゲームズコムで私有していただくとこちらのピンバッジ。
Oh yeah, he's explaining that if you actually do play the demo at Gamescom, you get that pin, which is sick, and it's collector's item.
Who are visiting Gamescom, they'll be able to experience Ninja Gaiden 4 and the build we've prepared for the general public. captures that kind of challenging, intense Ninja Gaiden experience. They'll be able to enjoy a boss fight as well. So we invite players to challenge themselves. With regards to future plans, we're still considering things, but we want to explore opportunities to allow more players to experience Ninja Gaiden ahead of launch. And if you do play the demo today, you'll be able to receive these pins of both Yakumo and Ryu. So if you're at Gamescom, please check out the demo and have fun.
Very cool. I'm excited to play. Thank you both so much. Ninja Gaiden 4 slices and dices.
Alright, so we know the rest of it. So, as you heard it, there is plans. They do want people to play it at home, so there is hope that we might get one. And if I can give my 2 cents on development process here, considering they announced the game and showed it off in a gameplay format, nonetheless, at the start of this year, means the game's core is done, as in the sense of like the development of the game start to finish, it has been finished, right? What they have been doing for the past 8 months is and again, it is a most likely case. I don't know how Platinum's and Team Ninja's development process works. Most companies do it differently, but there is always a sequence. So, what Team Ninja's been probably doing with Platinum in the past 8 months of this game, ever since it got announced, so 7 months technically, polishing up bugs and making sure all the coding stays the same, your game doesn't crash. I don't know, all the the standard stuff you have to do usually happens after everything's done, right? And considering they have been talking about Ryu having weapons post launch before the game even launches, that means they've already are developing this thing. I wouldn't be surprised when the game launches, we immediately get a trailer within like a week or two showing Ryu's weapons. If anything, we might even get it on launch. Who knows? But the other thing is that there is obviously DLC in the deluxe, which is called the Two Masters. And I had a theory about the Two Masters DLC. If I can bring it up right here. Yeah. So on Steam, if you go on Steam right now, if you click on Ninja Gaiden 4, they have this thing. They updated the information. It says the Two Masters DLC and additional in-game items included. Initially, I was under the impression, I was like, oh, is it a story portion where you play as like, Hayate and Ryu together, or like Tyron and Ryu, because they're all masters. Genshin somehow comes like or something. But then I thought about it a little bit more, and I'm like, oh yeah, the game is missing something. Co-op. We don't have co-op in the game. They have said nothing about the co-op. So, Two Masters might be a mode where you can play as Yakumo and Ryu, or just Ryu and Ryu, or Yakumo, whatever jives with you, right? In a co-op survival, or in a co-op ninja trials, like the classic thing, right? So this Two Masters thing, I might have sold it a little bit too high initially on the first thing, because hype kind of just sweeps you away sometimes, right? But this most likely is the co-op DLC that's going to come out. Most likely right next to Ryu's weapons. The reason why I say that is because usually when you want to select a ninja trial in Ninja Gaiden 2 and 3, it asks you what weapon you want to take on the mission. Yakumo has a plethora of weapons. Ryu has one, so that would make no sense for it to ask you, right? There's something missing from Ryu's kit. They're not gonna ask you what Nimpo you want to take in there. Hopefully they just let you take whatever and everything, right? Because otherwise it's boring. But just saying, for the sake of classicness, right? They used to ask you what weapon you want to take, and you just take the one weapon in there, right? So, and we do have cases of characters having one weapon and they're forced to go and do the trials, like Rachel, Kisame, Ayana, Kisame. Okay, sorry, Kasumi, not Kisame. That's from Naruto, and Momoji, right? They take the one weapon and you go in there, right? I doubt they'll do that with Ryu, but again, I'm speculating here. It's not guaranteed. So, and I still don't know how Ryu's weapon switching is gonna work. So, it might be just asking you what weapon you want to take in there. Because I'm a little disappointed that his quick switch is his Nimpo. I think that's a big waste of buttons. So, that's the speculation theories about Two Masters DLC and additional in-game items included, right? So additional in-game items is already been mentioned, which is like some extra coins and all that stuff. And in-game items, I doubt it means weapons. So just keep. It could be costumes, which we do have costumes. Like right here, we do have these costumes. But anyways, so with this done and this mentioned, we're gonna go into this one. This one is 32 minutes long, so if you wanna, pause it and go get some water and catch a nap or something, we'll still be here. So let's get into this one.
I'll show you what I got, Henry. I got Team Ninja here to talk about Ninja Gaiden.
Oh god.
Our director Masakazu Hirayama from Team Ninja, director Yuji Nakao from Platinum Games, and Joe Muntle, Team Ninja's global project manager. And Joe will also graciously be interpreting.
So now you have both directors sitting here answering questions, which is much important.
Now, fans everywhere are already going berserk for Ninja Gaiden 4. The game was revealed in January's developer direct, and we saw an action-packed trailer where the launch.
So in this video, you're gonna see them switching the camera to people playing the demo, which they were not allowed to record personally. People were not allowed to record the game themselves. So any film footage you see of the demo is provided by official staff members.
新しい映像が発表されたんですけど、本作に対する期待がだんだん高まってどんな気持ちでしょうか。
I'm gonna have to pause it because I can't really mute it. It's still too loud.
長く潜んで開発してきましたけれども、10月21日に発売できることをまず嬉しく思ってます。
Alright, just to mention, by the way, everybody was dying in the demo to the boss. At the end, nobody cleared it, as far as I know. I had a friend there playing this thing, and they said like nobody was clearing that boss. So the game is hard, even on normal, even with all of your tools available at the start of the game. People are still dying. Well, not all your tools, but you do have your core weaponry with all their moveset.
Yeah, it's been great to see the fans and the players' reactions to everything that's been revealed up until now. We've been working on this game, in the shadows for a while, so it's been really great to finally reveal it. And ahead of its release on October 21st, and myself, I've been able to check out
My favorite OT, by the way.
And see how players are engaging with the game and having fun, and it's been really great. And we'll be continuing to polish the game ahead of its release on October 21st.
Amazing, not long to go. Now, I know fans and myself are very excited that Platinum Games are actually co-developing alongside Team Ninja. So can you tell me a little bit more about that collaboration, how it started, and also what each partner has brought to the table?
So I've already explained this. Just go back to mute. Yeah, when I mute it, it goes back to 5. That's kind of sucks. So with I've already explained this, but the collaboration between this happened because these two guys are close friends. They're tight together, and they had an idea of like, hey, what if we try to do Ninja Gaiden, right? And the market's rough, and that is a big project. It's very risky to do something as big as Ninja Gaiden because hack and slash games are just insanely hard to make, right? So I can figure this out. I'm just gonna pause it. They wanted to do it. They probably drafted a conceptual phase for Ninja Gaiden 4, like the characters, the settings, the story. They probably drafted something like that, and somehow Phil Spencer caught wind of this, and he immediately went, "Let's do it," which is probably one of his last act of greatness because Phil is no longer working on Xbox apparently. He's being replaced or he's leaving. I don't know what the story on that is, but aside the point, Phil approached it. Both of them said, "Let's do it. Let's make Ninja Gaiden 4 happen." And because of the close friendship these two had as just directors together from Platinum and Team Ninja, and Phil being the guy he is, which he is wonderful. He does truly love video games. He's not just a businessman. This happened, which is an impossibility come to reality. So just the fact that this game exists and we're getting it this year in 2 freaking months, 58 days and 8 hours, counting seconds, baby. It is a miracle. It truly is a miracle. So this happened because of a strong bond between two people, right? So if you're a game developer out there, if you're a junior worker at a company, have your dreams and follow them through and make friends along the way. Connections do a lot of things like this.
でその中マイクロソフトのフィル・スペンサー氏の方から後押ししていただきまして3社でタッグを組んで忍者ガイデン4といったのを開発するといったところが経緯となっています。まあプラチナゲームズさんの方のですねダイナミックでケレミのあるアクションといったところも我々のチーム
They're just explaining everything I just explained.
そういった魅力をですねしっかり取り入れながら忍者ガイデンらしい体験に落としています。
Wanted to
There we
make a new mainline entry for a long time. And when that opportunity started to present itself, there was actually a conversation that took place between the president of Koei Tecmo, Koinuma, and the president of Platinum Games, Inaba, who are actually friends. And
Right.
they were having a conversation about, wouldn't it be great if we could work on something together? And that's when the idea of working on a new mainline Ninja Gaiden came up. And Phil Spencer from Xbox actually caught wind of this idea and threw his backing behind the project, and that's what allowed it to get off the ground. In terms of how we've been able to leverage both of our strengths, we at Team Ninja really respect Platinum Games and the accomplishments they've established with games like Bayonetta and Nier.
Right.
And we had this synergy where we were able to incorporate their take on action games.
Watch.
Really expressive, dynamic action approach.
And dead.
Incorporate it into the foundations of Ninja Gaiden
Game's too easy, guys. Games looks really easy. Dies.
evolve the series forward, and it's been a really great experience.
Love that. A collaboration of friendship beginnings. Love that. Now, at Developer Direct as well, speaking of friendships, we learned about our new protagonist, Yakumo, joining us for Ninja Gaiden 4 alongside Ryu Hayabusa, of course. And then
Ryu
also new
Hayabusa.
characters
Gosh,
today
please.
was recently introduced and featured in the Gamescom trailer that we saw recently. Can you tell us a little bit more about both of our new characters joining us?
We've already talked about this, so I'm going to skip this one. Ah, yes. Let's watch this one. That's why you saw the last one. The guy died.
With our new protagonist Yakumo, and he's on a mission. And on the course of this mission, he encounters this mysterious character, Seori. And Seori is a dark dragon priestess, very mysterious character, and she somehow knows about
That
Yakumo,
damage.
about the clan, the Raven clan that he belongs
Dies.
to. And through a series of events, they set out on a mission together to cleanse the world of the Dark Dragon. So the Dark Dragon has been sealed away because of its threatening nature. But in order to completely annihilate the Dark Dragon, they have to first release the seals that have sealed it away before they can kill it for good. And this is where the clash with Ryu Hayabusa as well
Uses
as the
item.
Divine Dragon Order, which is kind of the antagonist organization in the game. Their objective is to keep the Dark Dragon sealed away. So Yakumo and Seori setting out to revive the Dark Dragon and release those seals versus Ryu and the Divine Dragon Order who want to keep the Dark Dragon sealed away. And this is how the clash between these characters play out.
Got you, I see. So a little bit of conflict at the start. We'll see how that plays out. I've got to say, I do love Yakumo's hair. I think it looks very cool and stylish, so that's great. Can't wait to see more from them. But speaking of new characters too, we got a couple of them introduced to us during the Gamescom trailer as well. So could you tell me a little bit more about
This part is important. It
Hayabusa
reveals the
as
names
well?
of the samurai, the guy, and the new fiend we saw. Kagachi.
まずカガチに関してはですね、先ほどお話した龍神島の、偉い立場の
I know exactly what to do.
将軍と
So the name of the samurai here is Kadachi. He is a officer of the Dark Dragon Order, and he is protecting one of the big checkpoints. And he catches wind of Yakumo doing what he's doing, which is destroying the checkpoints and the generators to free the thing, and he goes after him personally. He is a big deal because not only he has unique aesthetics about him, he's actually extremely powerful too. And this guy is called Achilles. Now let's listen to it in English.
So first about Kagachi. So Kagachi is a high-ranking officer, which is to keep the Dark Dragon sealed away. So this Yakumo, on his mission to release those seals, he ends up having to fight against Kagachi because they have conflicting objectives.
アキレスはですね、これまでシリーズでもいた、魔人のうちの一人になってます。で、ただですね、これまで過去作にいた重機卿、それから視察重機王とはまた異な なる、陣になっておりまして、アキレスについてはこの後物語にどう絡んでくるのかっていうところは続報にご期待いただければと思います。
So Achilles is a fiend, and fiends have appeared in prior Ninja Gaiden games, but he belongs
Don't
to
release
a
it.
different
Feels bad.
faction of fiends. In terms of what his motivations are, you'll have to wait and see for future updates because we can't reveal those at this time.
Okay, secrets. I see. Well, look out.
Speaking of secrets, I have a weird theory here. Achilles. Just saying, there's a lot of similarities between these two. This might be a fiend in disguise, or maybe this guy turns into a fiend somehow because the area they're in. Hey, Goku Black. The area they're in. Look at the ground here, right? It's this area, right? So this might be immediately after this, and because it looks like the same area, and we are missing one character here, which is this guy. This guy is not there currently, right? And the blonde hair kind of gives it away. So, just saying, this might be our bad guy. Spoiler.
Out for those. Can't wait to hear more about him. Very cool. Now, in addition to the fantastic story trailer that we just saw revealed recently, I hear that you've actually got some exclusive gameplay footage for us to take a look at today, and maybe you can talk me through some of that as well.
Sure, I will.
今日は、新しいインゲーム映像を用意していただいたと聞いていますけども、それを見せながらちょっと解説、していただければと思います。
Yeah, let's take a look.
So I'll let most of this play out. I'll only point out to new things happening here, and I'll pause it to explain it and slow down the footage and yada yada yada. There is some stuff I forgot to mention last time, and it's only because I was extremely sleepy. I just woke up, so I can give you a little bit of insight on that. But for the most part, dialogue is going to play out, so just relax and listen to the thing.
So I hear we're in a little bit of a new setting here as well. Could you tell me a little bit about that, where we're at first?
My favorite UT, or OT now. New attack. I don't know what input might be for it, but very cool. Also, this OT. This OT is sick. That OT is sick, man.
Yakumo is infiltrating the headquarters of the Divine Dragon Order. Yeah, he's supposed to be infiltrating it. Of course, he's going in with a bang.
As is the Ninja Gaiden way. Very good.
あとですね、今ちょっと装いがヤクモの衣装がちょっと違うと思うんですけど、こちら予約特典になってる北竜の末裔という衣装になってます。で普段の衣装と違って結構白基調の衣装になってるので、
Insane.
対立とかが結構
Insane.
かっこいい衣装になってるかなと思います。
So you might have noticed that Yakumo is sporting a different.
Do you guys notice how little he consumes Bloodbind now? Look how little it consumes for him to do Bloodbind attacks. Like, that is almost nothing compared to what Ryu does.
Than what you see usually, and this is actually the pre-order bonus for Yakumo, and it's the costume he's wearing is called the Dark Dragon Descendant outfit.
Important thing here. He somehow goes into a string from a long range attack, which is a shuriken throw. Shuriken, and then goes into a string immediately. And the shuriken of the assassin's tool, it actually is the big shurikens. You don't have normal shurikens when you have this weapon selected. You throw out the unique shurikens. So the fact that you can string from long range to close range seamlessly is fucking amazing. Pardon my language. I love this OT. It's so cool. Brutal. The bombs. Okay, two things about the bomb. They home and they stick. And they stick to any surface. So watch this. You see that other one that was up there was homing. See, it's chasing him still. It is actually actively chasing the target. And there's one on the floor like a trap, just sitting there. So the Bloodbind, a long range option for the Assassin's Tool, does 3 different things: homing bombs and trap bombs. You see, it's like tracking them. It's insane. It's very useful. It's a very handy tool to keep someone busy while you're dealing with somebody else. Another interesting thing, I don't think any other Flying Swallow has ever done this, but his Flying Swallow launches for some reason. The enemy's airborne now, and he did another one, the enemy gets even more airborne. So, extreme combo potential, just saying. Sadly, he died.
Weapon, which was revealed in the opening night live trailer. And this, it is one weapon, but within this weapon, this one weapon contains a wide arsenal. So
you don't say.
Long-range options in the form of these large shurikens, as well as a large arsenal of close-range melee weapons.
So I already talked about that, but that's literally buy-in from DMC Devil May Cry. It just tags anything that got tagged by that gets sent under you. So just imagine a scenario, you switch to that, you gather in like 5 enemies right under you, you switch to the hammer, and you just come smashing down. And then you probably get grabbed by some asshole because it didn't get hit. My second favorite OT, most likely, because it just leaves them in a puddle of mush. It is literally a mush of meat. There is nothing left of that person. It completely destroys the person. So, second favorite OT, personally.
And when you go into Blood Raven form with the Assassin's Tools, these large mechanical arms will come out of Yakumo's back. And this allows you to perform even more, devastating attacks using the weapons included in the Assassin's Tools arsenal.
I see.
The staff seems to be stationary after you get your strings going, but then again, everything else moves you forward, so I doubt it. I think it just tracks until you actually hit the target. Important thing I forgot to mention in this combat area too.
And you might have noticed in the footage that Yakumo is seamlessly switching between weapons. So in this
here.
fight that happened.
So 2 things here, and one of them is like speculation, one of them is the other one is confirmed. So this is jumps off, string, guillotine throw midair. You can guillotine throw enemies in the middle of your string while you're airborne. Which again, I don't have to mention how much depth that brings to the table. So not only you have your Izuna drop, not only you can normally just finish your string, not only do you have a new string in the air but pushes the enemy further out and you can follow up that further out by repositioning yourself automatically, you also have guillotine throw where you can just toss the enemy the fuck away. And then you can decide how you want to land. And Yakumo has a lot of options where you can do in the air. And the next thing is here. That I do not know if that's contextual or not. If that's just the game is just automatically doing that because he's out of zone, so they don't want you to fall off. I doubt it because it's Ninja Gaiden. They don't handhold you to any extent. I think there is air dash in the game. There's no double jump still. I haven't seen double jump, but Yakumo does have the vaulting thing and the grapple. But yeah, this is 100% an air dash. A string, getting throw, boom, and then you air dash back to ledge.
Yeah, I like that.
あと先ほどちょっとちらっと見えたと思うんですけど、シリーズファンの方向けになんですけど、今回首切り投げっていう敵を投げるアクションがあるんですけど、そちらがなんと今回から空中で使えるようになったので、より自由に戦うことができます。
And, series fans might have noticed that Yakumo pulled it off an in-air guillotine throw. So this is a returning technique, and in Ninja Gaiden 4, you can actually use it mid-air and throw enemies at other enemies using this technique.
Sounds class. Love that. Awesome.
The distance you travel with these strings, by the way, is criminal. Look how fast he zips back and forth here. That's insane.
And right now we see Yakumo using the rapier weapon, which transforms into a drill in Blood Raven form. And this is really effective in one-on-one encounters.
Here's your Izuna. third favorite OT.
Very good.
今回結構その武器がヌエの方とカラスの方っていう形態に分かれているのでそれぞれでいろんな滅却の殺しのパターンっていうのが見れるのでかなり見てるだけでも気持ちのいいものになってる。
The Resident Evil section with the lasers in a hallway.
Obliteration techniques, which are these flashy, finishers.
I can promise you there's a chest behind them. If not two, if not three. There is something behind them.
They combine both the base form and
Okay, pay attention and try to keep up with this part because it's very cool
the blood
and
rays,
very useful.
varieties of these
Bloodbind,
weapons.
X, range attack, Bloodbind.
Very
Every enemy is in the air now. Everybody that got hit by that attack is launched in the air, and he lowers his altitude by naturally falling down, right? And then goes into a string
very cool.
Very cool.
into an Izuno drop. So that setup, it quite literally a DMC setup. Like you jump, rose toss, the enemies launch, and you just start doing strings. It's literally a DMC string from 4 and 5, right? So not only do your aerial long range your long range option in the air does a fucking explosion right under you, and as a Ninja Gaiden player, I cannot tell you how dangerous it is to land when you especially don't know what's under you. So having an ability like that to make your landing safe is very important, especially since it launches enemy. I'm sure Vangels and stuff like that, if they're in the game, they probably don't get even staggered by this thing because they just have armor for days. But the fact that you can make at least a bunch of enemies stagger while you land is pretty important. And the fact that you can, if something gets launched, you can just go into a Xeno drop or any of the other options in the air you can do.
爆弾を使って一気に絆を落として敵を
And this is the
So we
dual
saw
swords
Yakumo
faulting,
use,
which is your
bomb
Bloodline
and
X.
connect that into an Izuna drop.
Nice.
でここはスイッチをしてレーザーを止めながら
The laser seems to be on a timer because they do
So in
come,
this room,
they
we
do
have
pop
those
back up.
danger lasers, and you can deactivate them by hitting that generator.
Okay. A little bit of environmental as well as having to deal with these enemies. Wow.
Yeah, you see the lasers came back up, so probably fight in the room. If you fight in the small room, you can actively just deactivate the lasers. This is gonna be really annoying in Master Ninja, especially if you're trying to go for no damage.
皆さん楽しんでいただければなと。
And you might have seen how Yakumo pulled off a just guard counter, launched the enemy into the air, went into the air using the Blood Raven.
Yeah, this part, since they brought it up, I'm actually gonna play it back with a catch up.
遊びに行って打ち上げた後にタッチの武器で空中に行って
See, perfect dodge into a launcher. Sadly, he, fucks off to get the laser because it's more important.
遊びっていうのもできるので、そういう自由度も皆さん楽しんでいただければなと。
And you might have seen how Yakumo pulled off
Another
a
long range
just
attack
guard counter,
with the
launched
Bloodline,
enemy
just
into
toss
the air,
shurikens rapidly. It's pretty cool.
Went into the air using the Blood Raven form of the Tachi blade, and then did an Izuna drop.
Again, the Flying Swallow launches. It's super cool.
Ultimate technique. So there's really elevating
Now, this was a Ninja Gaiden 2 moment.
on landing.
He insta-charges a UT, which is ultimate technique, for people that don't know. And there's like 3 enemies near him, but he decides to go after the one that's in the air and farther away than anybody else.
There's really elevating
Classic UT charge.
Gaiden, combat experience with new possibilities.
And here's this beauty again. Boom. Splash. So sick.
Was the assassin's tool,
So sick.
ultimate technique.
でここがカラスニングっていう今回新しいニングアクションみたいのが使えて、そこでいろいろステージを進んでいくっていうの。
And you might have seen right now Yakumo use
Extremely extra. I love it.
Through the environment. So that's part of Yakumo's Raven gear, which is a new aspect to Ninja Gaiden 4.
Important note here, you can actually clash with long range attacks too. You can destroy projectiles.
アクションのスピード感を止めない形ですごいスムーズに入っているので、どんどんバトルに進んでいくっていう快感を味わえるかなと。
In addition to that,
Also, notes on the hurt box of the launcher. Like, he's all the way up here and he's still hitting him, so that's a very generous hurt box. And I appreciate them having this because if you can get this much altitude and like not be able to hit grounded here, it'll be a little annoying. But a little disappointed that the big guys also go through the same OTs obliteration technique of other just small enemies. So little disappointed, but it's whatever. Not a big deal.
Items, and these traversal sections connect these combat encounters, but they don't get in the way of interrupting the pace, the high speed action pace that you expect from a Ninja Gaiden game.
No, it doesn't look like that at all. Very high.
The absolute AoE control of this weapon.
So you see how Yakumo entered this close quarters area, so he whipped out the staff and hammer because that's very effective.
Everything got blocked in the air.
This close quarters area, so he whipped out the
These are just your tier 3s. And he is damaged, like he's bloody, right? And he still, despite being launched, despite being bloody, he still blocks all this shit. Little bit of jank. Look at this. Look at his legs. He's standing in the air. I didn't catch that the first time. That's hilarious. Has to be expected, obviously, but whatever. And boom. Professional player. All the tools. And still almost dies. Make note of Fatal Flash here, by the way. So, Fatal Flash is your perfect guard. If you block last second, you stagger and you have a follow-up. When you get the Red Flash, which is, you only get the Red Flash if Fatal Flash is upgraded all the way, and if you time it the best as you can. Or the best as possible, I should say. And whenever, and apparently, no matter what health the enemy has, unless they're a boss or mini-boss, if you land a perfect Fatal Flash, it delimbs them guarantee. So you have an insta-kill route for higher difficulties. So if you're really good at the game on Master Ninja, you can probably get away with doing Fatal Flashes against really annoying enemies. Because it insta-delimbs and you insta-kill afterward with OT. Very useful tool. Would be my number one recommendation to Master when the game drops. Get good at doing Fatal Flashes. That's the range attack for the dual swords. Almost dies again.
Yakumo perform a just guard, and after you perform a just guard, if you press the heavy button at the right timing, you'll be able to do a counter, and this will dismember the enemy and allow you to finish them off with an obliteration technique.
So, two things here. For people that don't know, this is your shop vendor. You buy items and stuff from it, and it heals you every time you interact with it. You'll notice when the health goes up. And this is your save point / Tyrant. Tyrant gets summoned whenever you interact with this crow, which is your technique shop. So you can buy self upgrades and weapon techniques from that with the karma points, or weapon XP points as they call it. But yeah, the health regens here by interacting with this vendor, which is Umi. You can buy items, and that's that. That's your save points. That's your vendors.
And we just saw the Dark Nest terminal, so that's where Yakumo can buy items from a supporting character named Umi. In addition to buying weapons, you can also.
I'm just gonna say this mission is gonna be super fun with Ryu.
Will have you completing certain objectives during the stages.
This is arguably one of my favorite missions to play through with Ryu so far, from what we've seen.
Performing some very flashy maneuvers to take out these missiles, but you can also use the legacy technique Flying Swallow to take them out as well.
You'll see the air dash here again. See, like, I don't know if it's contextual or not because the camera kind of zoom in, but I hope it's not. I hope you actually have an air dash. Which I think you do because we've seen the characters air dash or air perfect dodge, so.
Yeah, and through the course of these battles, you see limbs flying, and just this this violence, and but it's not, the violence in Ninja Gaiden, it's not meant to be grotesque. It's really to provide feedback and to the player.
So many secrets. Like, I can already see all the boxes hidden around here. Mention this again, but if you're a Devil May Cry player, this is essentially High Time, Rob Shredder, and High Time again. This is literally straight up the staple combo starter for combo videos of DMC with Dante and Virgil. Even Nero, honestly. Well, the outdated staple combo. People do different stuff now, but yeah.
You can see Yakumo use the assassin's tools to use projectile weapons to take out the enemies that are floating outside of the platform, and then switch up to those close counter weapons to take out the other enemies.
で今少し空中に飛んだんですけど、あれが新しいカラスニングのうちの一つのユスリカというものになってまして、風の気流に乗って空中を飛び回ることができます。
So you might have seen how Yakumo was floating through the air, and that's another traversal mechanic included in the Raven.
I do wonder if you can just one-shot these things with the flying swallow. Watch this shit. Boom! There's a chest here. There's a chest back here, so keep a mental note of that. There's a hidden item here when the game comes out. It's probably ghost fishes. Who am I kidding? You probably open the chest and get swarmed by ghost fishes.
In addition to the Raven gear, you've probably seen the rail sections that have been premiered in prior footage. And these sections are really meant to keep that sense of.
That's the string I was talking about. So you do square, square, triangle. You do a throwaway move. It pushes the enemy farther out instead of directly under you. So in this case, bye. Just outside the map, gone. I think the bad thing with environmental kills would be you don't get essence. For the third time, professional player, normal mode, all his tools, and still almost dies.
Yeah, and that sense of just relentlessness from the enemies. That's what really makes Ninja Gaiden distinct.
For the fourth time, professional player, all tools, normal modes, almost dies. So far, he's used 5 potions in normal mode.
So even though it's been quite a while since the last mainline entry, Ninja Gaiden 4 retains that sense of intensity.
I'm just saying, people say the enemies are passive and the game is easy. It doesn't look like it, man. I don't know what you're looking at, but something's definitely different from what I'm seeing. Maybe I'm just bad.
Yeah, you might have seen that there was this circular gauge on the bottom left-hand screen, and when that filled
Important gameplay section here too.
And when you're in Berserk state, you can unleash bloodbath kills, and that's when the screen turns red and you just completely devastate an enemy with a devastating strike.
Okay, so whoa, ignore that.
In Berserk state, you can unleash bloodbath kills, and that's
When you block in this game, right? They said for Fatal Flash, you have to press the button at the right time to be able to get the follow-up. Otherwise, it's weak. You don't get the perfect input for it. So it's going to take some time getting used to the perfect input. He messed up the timing there, so he didn't do much damage with Fatal Flash.
It looks sick. I really enjoy the visuals on the Berserker attack.
Now watch this.
yeah, and these enemies are usually pretty tough.
So you just saw him beat on the other guy for 30 seconds and then delimbed him and killed him. Now, meanwhile, you Fatal Flash this guy, right? You get the red one. He's insta delimbed, insta death.
Pretty tough, but the person playing this game is really skillful, so is able to take him out.
I bet.
That's the end of it.
Yeah, so you keep on going deeper and deeper into the.
So I think that's the end of the mission, or maybe you run into a boss fight. They didn't want to show it off. Actually, hold up.
Yeah, so you keep on.
This might be where you fight Kadachi later, because the tiles on the floor match the tiles where you the Kadachi fight takes place in the other trailer. Speculation, though. Speculation.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing that look halfway through the game. I can't wait to check out some more. I have a couple of questions about what we've just seen, and maybe we can dig a little bit deeper into some of the bloodbind mechanics and stuff like that, if that's okay.
かっこいい映像を見せていただいてありがとうございます。これからちょっと時間残っていますので、もしよろしければ、ヌエの方とか、本作、の要素、について、詳しく、教えていただければと思っています。
本作の要素について。はい。そうですね。今作先ほどお見せしたようなこれまでの忍者外伝でできていたアクションを一通り継承しつつも、新しくできたヌエの方によってよりダイナミックで、ダイナミックなアクションを行います。
I gotta say, this director is very stylish.
1対1で手勢に無勢の状態だった戦況っていうのを広範囲の攻撃で一気に変えることができるっていう、新しいアプローチをしていまして、これまでの忍者外伝の良さも継承しつつより繊細にダイナミックに、戦えるアクションとして据えています。でまた竜はやぶさに関しても、戦火状態っていう、新しい形態を用意しておりまして、そちらもより竜が町人だっていうことを知らしめるような激しく強いアクションになっておりますので、そういったところも楽しみにお待ちいただければなと思います。
Yeah, so with Ninja Gaiden 4, we really set out to retain that core essence of what makes Ninja Gaiden,
Which they have.
Injecting it with these new, very expressive, diverse arsenal of techniques that you can use at your
Which they have.
And you'll see that in the Blood Raven form of Yakumo. And also with Ryu Hayabusa, he has the Gleam State. And the Gleam State really just kind of demonstrates how powerful and how just absolute Ryu Hayabusa is.
Amazing. That sounds really cool. So with
And we've seen this in other gameplays, but yeah, again, you're hearing it from the horse's mouth, and you're seeing it in gameplay too. It's that Ryu and Yakumo played vastly differently, and the Ryu actually, from people that have played the game, they have said that, like, even the director said that Yakumo is more technical and Ryu is more power. In gameplay, that is accurate because Ryu actually does more damage than Yakumo does. He actually hurts more, which is, again, another, I'm going to bring this up till this game fucking comes out. It's like DMC4. In DMC4, to balance Dante around Nero's game, practically, every enemy was designed around Nero, every boss was designed around Nero. To balance Dante around that, they made Dante do so much damage with every hit. Like, he hurts when he hits the enemies. He destroys them. So that's the thing. Here, Ryu does much more damage than Yakumo does, but, Yakumo has his weapons and stuff. I'm sure when Ryu gets the rest of his arsenal, completely different story, most likely.
With the Blood Raven form, and maybe with Gleam as well, there's different weapons that we spoke about that Yakumo was able to pull out quite quickly on the fly. Can you tell us a little bit about what the particular unique states are for the different weapons, and also how they're best used in combat as well?
そうですね。ヤクモの武器種、について、カラス、の方と、ヌエの方。
And again, I don't know if I brought it up or not, but because it's been like an hour since I've been watching this. Let's see, what's the runtime on this? Pretty goddamn long. So as I've said before, the DLC plans are weapons, and so far we have the two masters, right? The two masters, is most likely co-op. I would love it for it to be like a story DLC with Hayate and Ryu, but it most likely is just a co-op mode because it's called Two Masters. So you want to make the two players playing the game feel like masters. So
yeah, so the base form of Yakumo's weapons, those really retain that foundational Ninja Gaiden
feel.
Experience, and then the Blood Raven form allows you to unleash these more
Platinum-esque,
devastating attacks. The thing about the Blood Raven form is that it actually will consume gauge when you're using it. So the game is designed to encourage you to switch back and forth during combat.
で武器ごとに特徴も結構分かれておりまして、例えば最初の方にお見せしていた2と
and when it comes to gameplay, you'll immediately can tell that there's specific times they want you to use gleaming and bloodbind attacks because the enemies react and act differently for those openings that you have to use those moves to make yourself a little bit to shift the tides of battle in your favor. And if you don't, you'll be at a disadvantage. You actually legitimately get punished for not utilizing those tools and get rewarded extremely highly if you do utilize those tools. And your timing does matter as well.
Yeah, so each weapon weapon has its own distinct qualities. So the base weapon, the dual blades and the tachi, when you use a Blood Raven form, the tachi will allow you to unleash these devastating kind of area of effect attacks, allow you to engage with enemies from long distance. Then there is the hammer, which is the Blood Raven form of the staff. And this is, very close range, but it will allow you to hit enemies that are to the side of you and behind you. And then the weapon that was revealed in the opening Nightlife trailer, the Assassin's Tools, if you look at the footage, you can see that it kind of is a jack of all trades. You can use it in any situation. But because of how, diverse its tool set is, it's quite tricky to master. But once you, really, wrap your head around how it works, the possibilities are just immense.
It sounds like a lot of fun. Now, are there any particular enemies that are susceptible to the different weapons and also the different bloodbind states? Is that a balance that you've put in there?
I don't think so. I
I
don't think there's elemental weaknesses or anything like that. I think it's just for the most part, I think the enemies are just, depends on if they're close range, long range type of stuff, right? So if the enemies were fast in like Ninja Gaiden 3 but they had short range, you would preferably want to use the scythe and the staff against them, because long range you just completely cancel them out. But if enemies were heavy and slow, you use your short range fast weapons against them. That way you just overwhelm them all the time. So it's probably gonna follow the same rule. The fact that you can stagger big enemies, it's insane to me, man. This game is so fun.
Enemies and the situations you're in.
そういう形で敵もそうですし、戦況に応じて自由に切り替えて戦っていくっていうことが重要になってくるかな。
Yeah, so depending on the enemies and the situations you're in, certain weapons can be more effective than others. So if you're in a one-on-one scenario against a very formidable opponent, you can use the rapier weapon, which transforms into the drill when you use Blood Raven form to
Big staggers.
Really, drill into him and take him out. And then if you're up against a lot of enemies, you can use the dual blades and the Tachi Blood Raven form to unleash, area of effect attacks that can subdue them at once. And then, for example, with the hammer, if you're in a close quarters area and there's a lot of enemies, ganging up on you, you can whip out the staff and just smack them, no matter where they are.
Gosh, amazing. Well, I can't wait to get my hands on all of the weapons and try them out myself, but probably the Assassin's Tools. I like the challenge you've set. Hard to master, but looks like a lot of fun to try out. Before we wrap up quickly, I would love to ask Hirayama-san and Nakawa-san what their favorite part of developing the game has been so far.
The one thing I forgot to mention here too is there's a part in this gameplay where I did mention it last time in the video, but there's a part in the gameplay where the Yakumo does a 360 bloodbind attack with the hammer, and it's like a launcher that launches everybody around you. It looks super sick and extremely useful. So, is someone playing fucking Madden in the background? Are you kidding me? You go to fucking Gamescom to play Madden? I'm sorry. That was out of character. Back to the game.
このバージョンに至るまで、例えばこの1年前の状態と比べると、もう全く別物になってたりしていて、どういう風にこのプラチナゲームズさんらしいそのケレン味のあるアクションを忍者ガイデンの中に
You can just block behind you. It doesn't matter. As soon as you press the block button, you can just block.
なんとかここまで落とし込んできたところの要素だったとありまして、そういった意味ですごく思い入れもあるし、ぜひ皆さんの方で触っていただいて、
I gotta point out that the fucking essence over here is like a night lava lamp. It's just oozing fucking... it's just oozing red light above. That's extremely funny. Last bit.
Blood Raven form has been a through line throughout the whole development of this game, and it was really the vehicle through which we were allowing Platinum Games to inject their own approach into Ninja Gaiden, but not just to exist on top of the foundation of Ninja Gaiden, but really incorporate it into those foundations.
Correct.
I think when players pick up the controller and they start playing as Yakumo, they'll understand that Yakumo is a new protagonist, but he really retains that quintessential Ninja Gaiden experience, and we're really looking forward to the day we can deliver the game to players on October 21st.
Absolutely, not long at all. I can't wait to play it, and thank you so much Team Ninja and Platinum Games for for showing us the look at all that. Very bloody, but very good fun. That was great.
Uh,
And don't forget, you
That's
guys.
the end of that. So, as far as the statement on keeping Blood Raven form and Gleamy form into the core combat, that is absolutely true because I cannot tell you how much I despise in Ninja Gaiden 3. Again, despite me loving that game, but in Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, if you're attacking enemies, it's a rock paper situation where either you connect, either they block, or they dodge. And if it's a big enemy, you throw in another one, which you connect and they armor through it, right? So it's 4 outcomes. And I think when they played that game specifically, right, they were like, hey, what if we had a way to deal with this shit? So now the thing is, every time you do a string and the enemy decides to block you, if you do a Gleamy slash Blood Raven attack, you break their guard, you stagger them. So you turn this situation into your favor. So the statement they said about incorporating those new toolkits into the combat instead of on top of it is exactly that. Because Ryu in 3 doesn't have too many ways you can deal with enemies, and when they start blocking you, you practically have to just either hit confirm or just reset the situation until you get into favor of it. Or you can manipulate it, but it's extremely hard and you have to be very skilled at it. So, what they've said is absolutely true about the game. I'm just going to let this play out so watch it. And as far as I know people are still going to be worried about the game. They're still going to be skeptical about the game, and it's natural. The industry is a little scummy nowadays, so it's fine if you feel like that. But and I'll go out on a limb because one of my friends yesterday played this game. He literally got on a plane, went to Gamescom, played Onimusha, played Ninja Gaiden 4, and played Metal Gear Delta. And he's a good gamer. I can vouch for him. I'm very judgmental when it comes to gamers, so I'll throw myself under the bus and say I'm an asshole when it comes to being actual being caring about people's the way they play. I'm very judgmental on that. So when I say I vouch for this guy's opinion, I'm truly vouching for him. He said when he played Ninja Gaiden 4, the game felt the best Ninja Gaiden has ever felt. Right? And he's playing 3 right now. He's playing through 3, so he does have a fresh perspective of how the game should feel. And 3 is the best feeling one out of all of them. So if he's saying that, big deal. And he said that he thinks Yakumo is extremely cool and he feels awesome to play. And we asked them like, hey, do you think Yakumo outdoes Nero when it comes to protect? And he said, yeah, because Yakumo actually has depth to him in terms of options, which is something Nero didn't have unless you get extremely creative with him. So the fact that Yakumo has all his toolkits and he has weapons and stuff, definitely puts him over Nero when it comes to actual just hack and slash protagonist in the combat sense. The story and the character remains to be seen, and that is technically subjective, so it doesn't matter. People's opinion differentiates on what they like in a character. So that being said, I'm gonna wrap this up because it's been an hour and 30 minutes. So if you stuck with me this long, thank you, and I hope you've learned a lot about this game. To give an outro to this. Again, if there is new news, I will cover it as fast as I can. Unless there are leaks, then I'm not gonna cover it. I'm probably just not gonna mention it either. Lost Soul Side is going to come out next week. So literally 6 days from now and a couple hours. The preload for it is up for people that want to download Lost Soul Side, pre-download it. I will be streaming that game and I will be going through it. I will do everything in the game. I will platinum it. I'll get all the collectibles, blah, 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 what I do usually with every game. And I will stream it. And if you want to hop in the stream and talk Ninja Gaiden, it is absolutely fine. Just because we're playing something doesn't mean we can't talk about other stuff. So if you want to, what's the term? Pick my brain about Ninja Gaiden during the live stream, feel free to do so. I will be live stream Lost Soul Side Day 1. And I don't know how long the stream will be. Most likely, I'll probably play through the game once before I go to bed because I'm insane. So, yeah, most likely going to finish the game in one setting as best as I can. I'm probably going to die, literally physically die from tiredness, but it'll get done. And this is the same thing I'm going to do with Ninja Gaiden 4 when that drops. I will play through normal mode, day 1, night 1, till I finish it. And then I might allow myself to go sleep. I won't, but that's the plan. But anyways, folks, I will catch you guys later. And I hope you guys have a healthy discussions in the comments. As always, I love reading through all your comments. I have 2 notifications here, so I can't wait to read what those might be. So that being said, wow, my YouTube is very one dimensional now. It's just weeb and samurai stuff. Yeah, I need to branch out. Anyways, take care, guys. See you next time.